The following podcast contains strong language and alternative facts. Follow us on Facebook and Twitter at Heel Podcast. Over the airwaves and under the influence, we are Turning Heel.
Let's get this shindig started. Hello and welcome to another episode of the Turning Heel Podcast with me, the Grizz. And with me as always is Chris motherfucking Hughes.
Hello.
Hola.
It's been a while since we've done that. I thought I'd bring it back, man. Taking it back.
Old school. Taking it back to the OG days.
Yep.
And today, we are here to talk about... We're going to go and do something a bit weird, I'm aware, because of how much wrestling we've had to watch this week. So what we're going to do is we're going to quickly go over the go-home show for Genesis. Yes, I know, this is why this is weird. And then we will cover the Genesis pay-per-view in long form. And in case you're wondering and you're saying, Grizz, you do realize this is Wednesday and also the go-home show for Hard to Kill is already aired? Yes, I am aware. I'm not that fucking stupid. Jesus. Sorry.
But as we mentioned on the last episode,
really
wrestling last week.
Really just got a bit peeved by that hypothetical fan there. So what our plan is we're going to do the same next week. So we're going to do the go-home show for Hard to Kill briefly before we discuss Hard to Kill. So that's how we're going to roll. And don't worry, the AEW and NXT episode of the week will still come at some point because wrestling is... It's not even a full-time job anymore. It's kind of like if you're like a single mum that has to work two jobs, for your kids. Because that's what it's starting to feel like now.
Yeah.
Instead of kids, we got cats.
Yes, we do.
Do it for the cats.
There's no podcast in with me tonight, though.
Well, like at all?
Oh, no, he's in the flat. He's just not in the room with me. And the door is closed. And unless he gets in next time I open the door to get a beer.
Which there'll probably be a likelihood of there being.
Yeah.
I mean, the cat coming in at some point.
Yeah, he's been a wee shit today. I was the busiest I've been since probably like before Christmas and work today. And all he wanted to do was come up and bite me. When I'm quiet, he doesn't want anything to do with me. But as soon as I'm not paying attention to him, he's like, da.
Bite.
So he's in my bad books just now. So he's not getting in.
Yeah. Well, that's a lot like the little one that's sitting very, very close to me right now. Mrs. Bitey Biterson. Am I right? Yeah, I'm right. I feel like Fergal and Bell would get on really well.
Probably would.
Tiny bites.
If it wasn't Virgin on paedophilia, we should introduce them.
Oh. Yeah, maybe if they were more the same age, we could have breeded them because, I mean, she is a tabby cat even though she's ginger. So, because you can foresee all the tabby detail. Anyway.
It may happen soon. He's getting his balls chopped off in about a month and a half.
Oh, she's had that surgery done a long time ago.
Yeah, fair play.
Yeah. And that leads us into Impact Wrestling somehow. Okay, hold on. No. As far as I know, no one has had their balls chopped off on Impact. So I guess there is no segue there.
If we looked hard enough, we probably would find some sort of obscure storyline.
Hard to kill enough? That's probably the closest we're getting. So we'll have a look at the go-home show for Genesis. That was, this time last week, I guess. So the show started with a fatal four-way, kind of introducing two of the wrestlers that were going to be in the Genesis tournament, as Crazy Steve and Ace Austin took on Blake Christian and Casey Navarro in a four-way match, not a tag match. I know I said that weird. And this was kind of to introduce Casey Navarro and Blake Christian into Impact, as I says, they were going to wrestle on Genesis in the Super X Cup. And of all the people that I thought were going to win this match, Crazy Steve picks up the victory with his DDT off the top, pinning Casey Navarro, of all people, for the victory. Then we got a very short match with Cousin Jake and Rhino taking on Cody Deaner and Joe Doring, with the Deaner, or the former Deaner. Well, I mean, he's still Cody Deaner, but he doesn't use that nickname anymore. Cody Deaner, again hitting the DDT to pin Cousin Jake. And as they continued the beatdown, your favourite Tommy Dreamer comes out and says, "Let's go old school in a 6-man old school rules match at Hard to Kill." Because I love how, like, Tommy Dreamer has essentially became like the Teddy Long now of Impact, where he'll come out once on the occasion and then he'll be like, "Why don't we have an old school rules match?" Like, that's the first time that's ever happened. And it's like, that's literally the only matches Tommy Dreamer's ever wrestled in these days.
Like, fair play to him. I thought you were having a dig at me there for like your favourite. I actually don't mind Tommy Dreamer. He just winds me up sometimes.
No, I know. It's just it's clear, like, I mean, going back to what you kind of say about Tommy Dreamer, it kind of goes to show that the dude can't really wrestle a proper match anymore. That's what he needs, is bells and whistles. So
yeah,
any match he's in is in a hardcore match. It's like, okay, right, well, there you go. I can smack you over the head with some garbage can lids for a little bit and make it look good. Then this fellow called Matthew Palmer is interviewed. He says that he was a security guard a couple of weeks ago and ripped Moose's shirt. I don't remember this happening personally, but I guess this was probably before the Christmas break, which was at this point about 3 weeks ago. So Jesus Christ, like, no sort of reminder of this. So I think it's fair to just be like, yeah, probably did happen. So he says that tonight he's going to face Moose in a 3-minute challenge. And he's like, okay, well, if I beat Moose, then everyone will know my name. But see, if I go out there and at least try, at least I can go home and hold my head up high and say, I tried. Backstage, AC Romero and the Swingmen are there. And apparently Johnny Swinger has his own office now, and had one of those painting stands set up, and AC's like, what's the deal with this? And Johnny Swinger's like, oh man, I was meant to have a painting of me like riding a horse made, but it's not ready yet, so we'll get there eventually. And AC's like, right, anyway, Crazy Steve told me to talk to you because he says that you might have some info on who shot Johnny Bravo, because AC still believes that Larry D is innocent. So Johnny Swinger says, it was probably one of those knockouts, because they're all Brazzards. And AC's like, okay, so how should I go about this? And then Swinger just says, just barge into their locker room. I do it all the time. They don't mind.
Yeah.
So AC
full disclosure for those listening. I didn't see this, so My laugh there wasn't take the piss or anything. I could genuinely see where this one's going.
So AC is still trying to prove Larry D's innocence. Deonna Purrazzo and Taya Valkyrie have a chit chat about the build up to their match. Rohit was backstage with Chris Bay. Rohit says, "Okay, 2021, I'm all about forgiveness, and I forgive you, Chris Bay." And Bay's like, "Yeah, no, we're not going to be cool until I'm champion again." And Rohit says, "Right, we need to go back to the original plan of unmasking Manic." So they challenge TJP and Manic to a tag team match. And then TJ says, "Oh yeah, me and Manic are like completely different people. But if I see him, we'll talk." And then Tenille and Caleb with a K, they're backstage. They start talking to Rosemary. And then Dashwood starts asking Rosemary, "So where does this leave you with Talia going for the Knockouts title?" And Rosemary is just kind of like, "Yeah, no, we're fine. Don't worry about it." And then Dashwood says, "Well, yeah, I know what it's like splitting with a partner." And Caleb's like, "Oh, like when you split with Jordan Grace." And Dash is like, "No." And it's like, "Oh, what about when you split from Madison Rayne?" And she's like, "No, the other one, the little tiny one. Like it doesn't matter." And Rosemary says, "Right, well, I'm not interested, so be gone." The final semi-final match in the Impact Tag Team Championship Women's Division. Yep, let's take that line again. The Impact Knockouts Tag Team Championship Tournament. There you go. Jordan Grace and Jazz took on Havoc
Top
and Nevaeh.
journalism, Grizz. Top journalism.
I know, Jesus. Literally could have said that more backwards unless I said tournament title tag women's knockouts. So Jazz and Jordan done well early on, but Havoc managed to catch Jazz with a tombstone, and they will go on to face Kiera Hogan and Tasha Steelz, they being Havoc and Nevaeh, and they will be your first Knockouts Tag Team Champions of the new era, which happened this Saturday at Hard to Kill. Grace kind of stormed off not looking too happy, and I actually thought there was meant to be more coming from this, but Swan and the Motor City Machine Guns were all kind of backstage, and they came up with this idea of, why don't we just go and jump the Kenny and the Good Brothers right now? So they go through this whole big thing of watching the three of them walk through backstage. They go past the guy with the papers that's like, "Oh, you're not on the list, you're not allowed out." And then the three of them walk up to the infamous bus that's sitting outside, and then the three of them get jumped. Like, because the three of them run round the back of the bus and attack them, and it's like, man, that just made you look really stupid. Jazz is backstage with Jordan Grace, and Jordan says, "Sorry, I walked away. I was just frustrated." And Jazz says, "Yeah, this wasn't part of the plan." And Jazz says she was grateful for the chance to fight the younger generation. And then Jordan says, "Well, okay, well, I know you put your retirement on hold a little, so what do you say at Genesis? You and me go at it? And it's going to be a little bit of friendly competition at Genesis." Deonna Purrazzo and Kimberly are with James Mitchell, also backstage, asking about Su Yung, as she's been, I guess, exercised, is the kind of only way that I can assume. A couple of weeks ago, she was taken away by the undead bridesmaids, and Mitchell says, "Well, she's not Su Yung anymore." And then they're like, "Okay, so it's Susie?" And he's like, "No, she's not Susie either." And then this woman comes out in like a suit, hair tied back, and glasses, and she's like, "Hello, I'm Susan." corporate Susie.
Interesting. I did see something about that, but I didn't realise that. Well, I realised it was Su Yung, but I didn't realise that's how they did it.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So now there's a third Susan, or Susie.
Look at her.
Or
She's a regular Mick Foley.
This is why we need a female gauntlet for the gold, I think is what they call the Royal Rumble. And she needs to enter as all three. So Moose takes on Matthew Palmer in a 3-minute challenge. Moose dominates the whole match, and with like 20 seconds left, he gets ready to go for the spear. But Mac comes out and just stands on the ramp. And then Moose just stands in the ring. And then, like, bear in mind that the timer is up on the Titantron behind Mac. So Moose can clearly see how long is left in this match. So when the bell goes, he turns around like, wait, what? What happened? What? And Matthew Palmer wins the 3-minute challenge. And then Colin Delaney from ECW's theme music plays for some reason.
That should just be fucking Impact Wrestling's tagline. Impact Wrestling, for some reason.
But, like, the most annoying part of that was the fact that music hit, and I was just like, that's Colin Delaney's ECW theme music. It's like, why did that...
The fact that you knew that is nothing short of wonderful.
And I was like, I know that theme. I remember that wrestler. I remember his Titantron where his name was on a plaster. Because he was always the guy that got beat up.
Yeah.
Ethan Page is backstage. He's having a talk with someone that's giving him advice. And then camera pans back, and it's the Karate Man. And the Karate Man says, well, you call yourself all ego, but all I'm hearing is whining like a bitch. And so Page challenges the Karate Man, and the Karate Man says, oh no, if we're going to do it, we're going to do it in my terms, in the ring, at Hard to Kill. So Ethan Page takes on the Karate Man.
I cannot wait for that match. That's the one I'm looking forward to the most at Hard to Kill.
It's going to be hella interesting.
Yeah. And it's probably Ethan Page's last match in Impact as well.
Yeah, because he's
I'm interested to see how they do it.
In fact, he's already a free agent, is he not?
He could be, yeah. Where do you see him going?
I would kind of hope... Excuse me, I took a draw wrong. I would kind of hope AEW, personally.
I'd prefer NXT.
Really?
I think him and MJF are too similar.
Okay, fair enough. Ooh, what if Ethan Page joined The Way?
Yeah, does he kick Austin Theory in the balls?
That should just be a thing in every match where Austin Theory just gets kicked in the balls now.
I think it's going to be, considering it happened twice in that last match. Genuinely think it's going to be.
Like, just because obviously now he's just a complete dumb klutz. So it should be things like, oh, he tries to, like, The Way are banned from ringside during a Johnny Gargano match, and then, like, Austin Theory tries to, like, jump the guardrail to jump in the ring, but he slips and lands on his nuts and just like, oh, my balls! And stupid things like that.
Aye, to see for that to happen, can't have Thingy join, Page join. But where you could put him, I think you might work as a regular TV fourth member of the Kings of NXT.
Oh, because obviously Page very talented at the old talkie talk.
Yep.
And then, yeah, like, and then maybe, like, you know, what's his butt? McAfee could be like, well, I've went out and I've found someone that's almost exactly like me in every way. good looks, great in-ring talent, absolutely gift of the god on the microphone, and he's going to be keeping an eye on NXT for me while I'm off being a massive star.
Yeah. And then they can kind of build over the next maybe 4 or 5 months a wee bit of distrust between Paige and Pete Dunne, and eventually do the Pete Dunne face turn, Pete Dunne versus Paige. Make it happen.
Boom. There you go. That's all you need. Interesting. I quite like it. Your main event was Eddie Edwards versus Sami Callihan, where the two of them just brawled and brawled and brawled and brawled and brawled and brawled. The segment was probably about 20 minutes long, but the actual match itself lasted for about a minute and a half, because they didn't even get to their entrances before they both came out, started fighting. Things like there was this gross looking suplex on a chair that Sami did to Eddie, and then eventually they finally got in the ring. The bell went. Then they started beating each other down in the corner, and then one threw the referee away when the referee tried to interfere. Then that gave the other person an advantage. They started beating down their opponent in the corner. Referee came in. They threw the ref away. Then it came to the spot where I think it was Sami starts choking Eddie, and then Eddie starts just pushing his fingers into his eyes.
I like that.
Thank you.
That's a nice wee reference.
Thank you.
You were a bit off tune, but I got the reference.
No. I mean, I could go a bit more ham, but I don't need to blow it anyway. Plus, the few people that maybe don't get the reference, it was a Slipknot reference. Slipknot, that's what we were looking for. I push my finger into eyes. The only thing that slowly stops it. I've tried it before, actually, it does. Like, see when you stub your toe, just stick your finger really hard into your eye, and then all of a sudden...
No, do not do that. Chris, you try to get us fucking sued, man.
Hey, I mean, it's your call. Do what you want. Like, Jesus.
There are Americans that listen to this, and those guys will sue you for anything, no matter how dumb. Like the woman that burned herself for a cup of coffee and sued McDonald's because the coffee was hot. and that's why plastic cups now have the caution contents may be hot on them.
I can't. What were you expecting if you order a coffee?
I mean, that may or may not be true, but for the purposes of this story, it's true.
Well, it does remind me of a story that somebody did tell me once. He may have been mentioned on one of these podcasts before, the Dundonian grass champion himself. So this big guy that used to go, I don't know if he still goes to ICW, went to a Fierce Female show once with his Dundonian grass championship, because he was one of those people that took belts to ICW shows. And at the after party, he started trying to give all that to April Davis, the little tiny, legitimate fucking martial artist. And she choked him the fuck out in front of everybody. Like, legit.
See if it's the same mob for Dundee that went to ICW shows that I'm thinking of. Yeah, they were all dicks.
I don't know if he was actually from Dundee, because he used to always be in the cat house. But anyway,
I have no idea who you're talking about.
Well, maybe I'll say the old name off air. But anyway.
Oh, what to do is send it to me in the group chat. I want to send the audience to hear my reaction as to whether or not I know who it is.
So anyway, he was telling us a story once where he was kind of young, and was at McDonald's, and like I think like he was eating something and got like a chip or like a chicken nugget or something like stuck in his throat. So he just grabbed like a drink that was close to him and just glugged like half the fucking half the drink, and then was like, oh, it was hot chocolate. And it was like, right, okay, hold on a fucking second, because there's tons of layers here to that, because hot chocolate comes in a very specific fucking cup, like coffee and all that do. And would you not think when you grab the cup and it being hot instead of cold, and then when you put it to your fucking mouth and it kind of burned, maybe stop glugging it? And apparently, like, severely burned, like, his throat and everything. I was like, I'm sorry, but that's fucking dumb.
Yeah, what do you expect? And I don't know him.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah. So
that was a really anticlimactic end to that story, wasn't it? I'm like, I don't know.
But then it was that kind of thing where I was just kind of standing there like, can I go now? Because I did. If that's the kind of
because my beer's almost finished and I could use another.
My beer's almost finished. It's not even opened. My beer's finished.
Chris, that's coffee. Don't do that.
Oh, my
throat. Idiots. Or imbeciles.
They make the world go round. And that's me sitting here being like not the most smartest person in the world. But you know,
I always like saying the word imbecile. It makes me feel really fucking intelligent. Don't know why, but it's like only really smart people use the word imbecile.
Yes, sometimes too smart. I don't know where that was meant to go, really, to be honest.
Yeah. Anyway, let's move on from hot drinks and suing people. And how did we get here?
Slipknot, probably.
Oh yeah, you told the listeners to push fingers into their eyes. No, don't do it.
I suggested it.
I could still get us sued. Do you remember the alarm we used to have when we first did this?
Oh no! Don't bring back the Grizz alarm.
I think I'm going to have to after that.
I'm like,
whoop, whoop.
I'm
The
like,
views and opinions are expressed by the Grizz are not those of Chris Hughes or the Turning Heel podcast.
I'm more drunk in this podcast now than I've ever been.
Anyway, we're digressing.
So the match, Eddie pushes his fingers into Sammy's eyes. The ref comes in again. Both of them at the same time throw him down, and the ref goes, "Fuck this! That's it. I'm out of here." Fucking rings the bells, like disqualified, and he just goes, "Right, I'm out of here," like, and then just leaves. And so the two of them are like, "All right, fuck you then," and then they continue to fight, and so Impact just goes off there with them constantly brawling. Obviously, I assume more's going to happen on the Go Home show, which we have yet to watch, and we will have watched by the time Hard to Kill comes. But we're going to be running down the card anyway, so blah, blah, blah. It's all jumbled up. I blame Wrestle Kingdom.
Yeah, I blame Wrestle Kingdom too. Fuck Wrestle Kingdom.
I mean...
Wait, no, Wrestle Kingdom's good.
Wrestle Kingdom was great. It's just... It took up a lot of time that we could have used to watch, other things.
Indeed, it also made us drink mimosas at 10 o'clock in the morning. Made us do it.
I mean, what's a wrestling show without drinks? And especially these days, if you know us, mimosas.
There's something about the Wrestle Kingdom mimosas, though, man. They weren't as good as they usually are.
Probably because it was 10 in the morning and we both had, like, collectively about, 6 hours sleep. Because, bearing in mind the fact that I stayed up and practically watched all of Raw with only intermittent naps, and then we got for Wrestle Kingdom, so I was the big struggle.
Do you know, I went to bed maybe about an hour into Raw, and I get in my bed and I lay down. I can still hear the TV in the living room where Grizz is watching it. And the exact time I went to bed was when Hulk Hogan and Drew McIntyre were talking. And I was so tired, I was getting ready to fall asleep. And then I've heard Hulk Hogan say the words, "Drew, you've taken that WWE Championship all over the world." And I was like, Hulk, no, come on, Terry. No, he's not. He's not even taking it home yet.
He's not taking it out of Florida. Like,
I know.
Like his US home.
Oh
dear.
Terry.
And all this kind of shit about him going online. It's like, oh, I don't know what it is, brother, but every time I go backstage at WWE, everybody acts like I'm here to take their spot, brother Jack, dude. And it's like, yeah, I'm sure that's the reason a lot of people hate you these days, Hulk, is because they think that some 70-year-old man is going to come and take their spot, and it's not the fact that you're a massive fucking racist. Brother.
Terry Bollea is a racist. Hulk Hogan is not.
Ah, yes, sorry.
I will stand by that.
Hulk Hogan and his like 10-inch penis or whatever it was, wasn't
it? Yeah. Hulk Hogan's got a 10-inch penis. Terry Bollea does not.
That would have been really funny if, like,
I can't believe that a courtroom turned into that much of a circus that the size of Hulk Hogan's penis was actually discussed, and then detailed the difference between Hulk Hogan's penis and Terry Bollea's penis, and the fact that Hulk Hogan is indeed a fictional character where Terry Bollea makes up details about Hulk Hogan that are not true about himself.
Might I also add on top
How
of
did
that...
the courtroom have to discuss that?
Might I also add on top of that, Chris, the whole fact of why they were in that courtroom was because of the Hulk Hogan sex tape that was out, where if you would watch it, which I've not, but I'm pretty sure if you would watch it, you would be able to tell that Terry Bollea / Hulk Hogan, whoever it is that was in that video, does not have a 10-inch penis.
Well, actually, you can't tell. I have watched it.
Okay. Ugh.
It's not a very good angle. You can't tell. You can't see nothing. You just kind of see him bouncing up down a wee bit. That's about it. I'm sorry, man. Curiosity get the better of me.
Fair enough. This is the part where you now start telling us about Lars Sullivan's porno.
I've not seen that.
Yet.
But it's not through lack of trying. I'm genuinely not been able to find it. You weren't expecting that answer, Grizz, were you? You search it and it isn't anywhere. He's obviously paid to have his Google history deleted, which you can't do. Obviously, that was a
Charlotte reference.
That was a football joke, actually, that I've now realised that no one listening to this podcast is going to get, so never mind.
Okay, we'll take my version of the reference then. Remember when Charlotte's fucking disproportioned tits came out on the internet, and she's like, I want those pictures taken down from the internet, and it's like, yeah, because that's how it works.
Yeah. I mean, the person that posted them could quite easily take them down, but you're forgetting about the 10,000 weirdos that have screenshotted it or downloaded the picture themselves.
Exactly.
Once it's out there, man. It's
not going away. Speaking of things that
people shouldn't do that. Just to be clear.
I mean,
let's say the Lars Sullivan thing. The Lars Sullivan thing. He chose to appear in pornographic material that was going to go on the internet. That's his problem. But like the Hulk Hogan thing and the Charlotte thing, that's not fair and not nice. Don't do that to people.
You know, unless it was good, like Pages. No, I'm joking. Kind of. What? Nah, like, I mean, like, even then, like, when that first came out, we were like, it's not fair. Like, okay, yeah, oh look, there's a pretty woman. You can see her naked on the internet. Like, that doesn't take away from the fact that it fucking sucks. Like,
there is thousands of pretty women that get naked on the internet by choice. Go look at them.
true. Yeah, exactly. And then there's probably even
OnlyFans is your friend.
and then there's probably people out there that just happen to look a lot like Paige. You know, same difference.
That are naked on the internet by choice.
Indeed. Because the whole hacking thing into like people's accounts is like, yeah, that's weird levels of shady.
Yep.
I mean, again, it's that kind of thing. Like, if she was to post them herself, then that's neither here nor there. Like, she wanted them out there, but she didn't want them out there. That's the point. Speaking of things that were out there, though, Impact Wrestling.
I really wish Rob was on this episode. Sorry, last thing I'm going to say on it. I really wish Rob was on this episode, or Robert rather was on this episode. Because he has seen the Lars porn, so he could give us a bit of an idea of what happens on it.
Well, tune in to our next episode where we get a full rundown of Lars Sullivan.
In fact, let's do a special turn and heel porn reviews.
Right.
But it has to be wrestlers that have done it consensually. Sable, China,
Sable's
Lars.
done consensual porn?
Yes. The same. Oh no, not Sable. Sorry, not Sable. Sorry. Sonny. Yes, sorry.
Damn it! Now I've just typed a whole bunch of random letters onto my screen. One of these could have very easily been the hang up button. So you're lucky I'm still here. Okay. Maybe I'll say it. Dibs on Backdoor China. Because it's definitely better than Sonny's.
Right, okay, fine. You can have Backdoor to China, but I get the one where she plays She-Hulk.
Yeah, that one isn't good.
I don't care if it's good or not. I'm just trying to avoid having to see Sonny.
Fair enough.
Do you know, I've just said that. Long-time listeners of this podcast will remember when we first started and it came out that Sonny was doing webcam shows.
Oh, no.
Do you remember?
Yeah.
Remember we were pissed and we emailed her? She did not respond.
Oh, beast. But the thing is, probably back then, she was significantly better looking than she was by the time she eventually made said porno. Which is one I can confirm that I have watched. It was the saddest masturbate I've probably ever had.
One of those things where you come and you just feel dirty.
Yeah.
Like all over. You need to go for a shower and all.
It's that kind of thing.
And-
It's that kind of thing. It's like, I'll put it on for a laugh, and then he just kind of was there, and it was like, oh God, come on, man. It's like, fine. Well, that was probably very much TMI. I'm not even that fucking drunk yet. This is only like my third vodka. Jesus, what have we become now that we've betrayed everyone we've ever loved and pushed them all away? Which is you, listeners. We love yous. And we've clearly pushed you all away. I'm going to try the segue one more time. What was put out there was Impact Wrestling putting out Genesis this past Saturday. Third time is
that was
the
put out
charm. Take a deep breath after that whole weird conversation.
And that's the thing, we're not that drunk. Imagine we were shit-faced and had that conversation with a live microphone.
I know. I feel like we've had some weird-ass conversations we've been significantly drunker for than that.
Yeah.
Or, no, I think I said that wrong. Anyway, you get what I mean. So, we start off with the first round of the Super X Cup tournament. So, before every match, they had like sort of met a couple of members of the roster and a couple of and the participants all kind of talking about who they were and all that. So because Suicide doesn't talk, they kind of had other members of the roster talking for him. So Sabin pops up and he's like, oh yeah, back when I wrestled him, I was 100% sure that was Christopher Daniels. And to be honest, even to this day, I'm still convinced that it isn't. Still not convinced that it isn't.
Aye.
Because obviously back in the day when he was wrestling, it was Christopher Daniels.
Yeah.
Sorry.
But see, thing is, right, this wasn't as bad, right? This was just a funny wee line. But it's once again Impact referencing a more popular show than them.
I think
that kind of bugs. That's my one really big bugbearer with Impact. To be fair, AEW are bad for it too.
I know, but like I should say, this one was just meant to be funny, and it was funny because if you knew that Daniels was actually Suicide when he wrestled Sabin, that was like just a cheeky, tongue-in-cheek kind of thing. Like, I get what you're saying because Daniels is in AEW and all that, but I don't think that's what he was trying to do.
I don't think it's what he was trying to do either, but I just think that sometimes it just doesn't need to be said. Like, do you know what I mean? Like,
but then he started saying, oh, well, it could be anybody because obviously Suicide was also played by like 4 other people. And I'm pretty sure that right now he's played by Caleb with a K.
Yes, actually, yes.
So figures why he's back. And then his opponent is Ace Austin. So I was just getting sort of prepared for Lunchington while I had this first match on. So there wasn't too much that I have of this this first match, but the first note was what happened to Suicide's awesome new mask that he had when he returned. He had this very disheveled, like almost like the skull was kind of like, what's the word I'm looking for here? Like kind of wasting away. And he only had it for like 2 episodes when he returned. And then he just kind of went back to the regular gear. And it's like that other mask that he had just looked so badass compared to the one that he has now.
Well, did that... I was going to say, did that other mask maybe belong to someone else that was playing him? And they're like, fuck you, it's my mask. And maybe because of COVID as well, they might have not been sharing masks. And we've lost Grizz. And he's back.
But you know what I mean?
Aye, got you, man. Feel you, bro.
Go. So what were you saying? You were kind of in the middle of a sentence, and then Skype just decided to take a massive dump on her chest.
No, I was saying is it maybe because the mask maybe belonged to someone else that maybe got it to be playing Suicide, and maybe if that's the case, they're not using it because of the whole COVID stuff, not sharing a mask. Just a theory, but seems strange.
Maybe
get that made and then stop using it.
Yeah, because it was like distinctly different to kind of make it look like Suicide had been like literally stowed away for years and like came back and he looked all disheveled and dark, and then it's just like no.
Wait, when did this happen that he came back?
Right about the start of COVID, funnily enough.
All right, okay. Yeah, maybe it was somebody else before it was Caleb BK.
Maybe. Let me just try and see. Suicide, that's a risky thing to... Oh, no. No.
Suicide wrestler.
Yeah, well, I wrote Suicide Eye, and then it just came up suicideimages.com, and I was like, nope, that's not what I need right now.
That's really not what you want.
Suicide Impact Wrestling new mask. Oh, there it is. Yeah, because like the whole gear was different. It was all a lot darker. Don't know if you can see that.
I'm just going to look up. Give me 2 seconds. Oh, yeah, I see it there. Yeah, totally.
Yeah, it's like it looks like the fucking masked magician or something. So it's kind of that thing, like almost like the mask has like been growing, and it's like it almost looks like kind of a take on if Suicide became like a Venom-esque character. And then it was just, no, wait, here's the old suit. There you go.
When was it he came back? Was it to do it Austin Aries? Oh, no, never mind, sorry. Reading the wrong thing.
No, it was, he was meant to be coming back because he was going to be a part of that show at WrestleMania weekend.
Well,
so he came back like maybe two episodes before that.
Caleb with a K is credited for being underneath the mask from 2017 until present. However, Zachary Wentz has got 2020 on there as well. So he's made at least a couple of appearances as Suicide.
Because I'm pretty sure that Caleb was not under contract during that point. Because he was in Impact for a while, and that's when Suicide was last about. Then Caleb got released, and all of a sudden, Suicide just disappeared. And unless he was brought back, or well, unless that maybe that was Wentz.
Yeah,
because obviously that would have been this year.
It says Wentz Wentz 2020, but no like actual dates. Yeah, it doesn't really give any detail on Wentz playing him, but he did this year at some point. So let's just go with that's the reason.
All right. Well, anyway, so there was one of the few spots that I did take note of in this match was Ace Austin pulls out his playing guard and then starts to swipe the webbing and the fingers of Suicide, despite the fact that Suicide wears gloves. So Suicide just kind of stood up and looked at his head like, "What the fuck was that?" And then the kind of ending of this match comes with Suicide setting up for a sort of back suplex sort of finisher. Fulton gets on the apron, which gives Ace the chance to hit the high knee, and then hits the fold to advance to round 2. Then we get 2 of the 3 newcomers in this tournament. I don't think they're signed by. Well, in fact, I know one of them definitely isn't signed by Impact because Casey Navarro that's in this match was also apparently on Dark last night. So,
all right, okay, interesting.
So later on in the week when we run down AEW and NXT, make sure to look for Casey Navarro in his in my top 5 AEW Dark ratings.
So you're a fan of him then?
I fucking already love this guy.
Okay, fair play.
Well, I mean, rather than jump to the end, we'll get into this. Like, the thing is, Blake Christian, I actually quite liked him as a wrestler, but he does not look like he does not have a look. Essentially, I guess is what I'm trying to say. What did you think?
I mean, I quite liked him, if I'm being perfectly honest with you. I thought he was a pretty decent wee baby face. Do you know what I mean? Always like those underdog baby faces. Like his what was his tagline was all heart or something like that.
There was one of like seemingly many because Josh Matthews rifled through about what seemed like 5 of them throughout the night.
Yeah, no, I actually quite liked him. I've never heard of him before, never seen him before, up until this show. And see, to be honest with you, see when I seen the bracket, I was fully expecting a Suicide and Crazy Steve final. So how wrong was I?
Yeah,
how fucking wrong was I?
So the first thing that I put was that I really enjoyed KC Navarro's theme music. So I think that also helped with my likening towards him. But also like his kind of little promo that he cut before the match. And it's kind of one of more of those things. It's like, KC Navarro clearly seems like more of a fleshed out character. But as they say, Blake Christian went to the semi-finals in the Super J Cup tournament that New Japan done on Strong. That was the one that El Fantasma won. So Blake Christian not doing too badly in that tournament, and probably what got him a spot here in this tournament.
Yeah, very likely.
And one of these things where wish Robert was here today to kind of give us a bit more of a fill-in. Yeah,
Robert, you're not allowed a day off ever again.
I know the one show that you take a day off, and it's the 2 times where we badly need you to talk about Blake Christian and Gabor. So, saying that, I'll let blah, blah, blah. I just kind of just said that sentence. And I kind of did note that, like, I feel like KC Navarro would actually fit in quite well with, like, Ace Austin as tag partners. Like, maybe with Fulton being, like, the kind of the heavy that just watches their back, and then those two being in a tag team. Yeah, think you should bring him in.
Yeah, why the fuck not?
Yeah. They start a game of one-upsmanship, like partway through the match, where they're kind of rolling off each other's backs and then doing flips off the ropes and all that sort of stuff. Casey then offers a handshake, but then tries to slap Blake, but Blake catches it. Nice little spot. There was this cool 619 from the inside of the ring onto the apron while Casey was sitting on said apron by Blake. KC Navarro hits this spinning, flipping cutter move. So it looks like he's going for the McGillicudder. If anyone remembers what that is.
Fucking hell, man, that's a throwback.
Yeah, I know. But instead of...
I'm pretty sure there's people that don't even know who fucking Michael McGillicuddy is.
I know, Jesus. I'm actually surprised that you remember who Michael McGillicuddy is, to be honest.
Aye. I can tell you where I was when I found out that he was Paul Heyman's new client. I was on a number 2 bus in Edinburgh, just passing Haymarket Station, going to work. Back when I lived in Edinburgh.
Interesting.
People know where they were when Diana died, when the fucking Twin Towers were hit. I know where I was when Curtis Axel was born.
Yeah, Jesus. I remember that like so much as well, and it was like, oh, and here comes the new Paul Heyman guy, and then it's just a close up on Michael McGillicuddy's face in the Titantron, and I was like, yeah.
That totally ruined him because he was really just put there so Heyman could be on TV every week going, I'm the advocate of Brock Lesnar, the one behind 21-1.
Yeah, and then he was also like that with Cesaro as well. And it was just like...
Oh, no, shit, that was Cesaro. Sorry, I apologise. It was Cesaro that happened with originally.
I feel like that was around the same time. I'm pretty sure like they were...
Paul Heyman guys together. They might have been. I don't know.
Yeah.
Cesaro's a Paul Heyman guy excited me.
Aye, totally. And they done absolutely nothing with that. Like, you could have built that up to be Cesaro trying, and then maybe failing, but trying to take the belt off of, and then have Paul Heyman guy versus Paul Heyman guy. And then after, you know, Lesnar beat Cesaro, you could have had, like, Paul Heyman, like, you know, throw him out of the Paul Heyman clique, and then that would have made him a fucking hell of a babyface. Like, there was so much simple little things that you could have done, but instead you were just like, I don't know, just slap Paul Heyman with some fucking schlub just so he can talk about Brock Lesnar more. And it's like, well, you tried a bit harder. You could have really got those people over.
While still talking about Brock Lesnar.
While still talking about Brock Lesnar.
Yeah. Lesnar versus Cesaro, with Cesaro being like pushed to the moon, would have been fucking fantastic.
Yeah, and then even the thing is, like, I'm not even like, ooh, have him win it, even though I would have had him win it. But if you really needed him to lose, then at least he could lose, like, maybe gracefully. And then, again, as I say, have him get kicked out of the group, and then, boom, there's your fucking new babyface. And then he can build up from there. And then he would have been a fucking star. He would have been a star! See my name in lights.
Gonna make you a star, kid. See that billboard up there? This time next year, your name's gonna be on it.
Right at the top.
Right to the top. To the moon!
To the moon. As William Grisington's brother Brad Grisington, he did quite well on Broadway, making stars.
Yeah, he was a star, I tell you.
Don't know if you've ever heard of her, but Marilyn Monroe, he made her. He made her.
I heard the rumour he banged her.
Yeah. I mean, he also was pals with the president at the time.
I was going to say, he made the president watch. A certain Mr. John F. Kennedy.
Kennedy!
Kennedy! That would have been a very different president, eh? I would try and do my best JFK impersonation, but I can't do it. But in the style of Mr. Kennedy.
I know. I feel like I would need a bit of material because I don't really remember anything that like John F. Kennedy was kind of famous for saying to even try to do it.
JFK, right, Grizz? JFK's Mayor Quimby.
I hear
Yeah. I pledge my allegiance to the flag of our. Yeah, honestly, man, Mayor Quimby is based on JFK.
It makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, look up videos of JFK talking, and you'll be like, "Holy shit, it's Mayor Quimby."
Just still one of my favorite times. It's like, you haven't been home in weeks. You haven't even seen your child. Why? Oh yeah, right, okay. I gotta remember how the fuck we got here. So he hits the McGillicuddy, but then instead of just sort of following through with the cutter portion of it, he then flips over into a splash. Very like awesome looking move. And I think that was the move where I seen him hit. It's like, I want to see more of this guy. That was fucking hella awesome. Blake hits a super kick and a standing shooting star for 2. Blake then goes up to the top, but Casey follows him. There's a sunset flip power bomb off the top rope, but Blake goes back up and hits a rather blah looking spinning splash for 3. And then I just wrote debatable. As in, I would not have had Blake win this match.
I liked him, man. I'm sorry, I have to say, but
I'm not saying I don't. I just say, like, out of the two of these, there was a clear fucking star and a clear good worker. Like, I'm not taking that away from him, but I don't know, man. Like, Casey had fucking everything. He had a good look, good theme music. He had like that awesome McGillicuddy move. It's not saying like that was the only good thing that he did in the match. He was pretty fucking solid as well. Just, I don't know, man. Like, if I was to pick out the two of them, me personally, it evidently has already shown who I would pick. Like, I would pick Casey the whole time, every time.
Okay, fair enough. I think this is going to be one of the things where our opinions differ.
Fair.
Which is allowed.
Of course. Up next, Davari took on Cousin Jake.
Yeah!
Giver.
Sorry, I said earlier I couldn't see past a Suicide and Crazy Steve final. I actually made a mistake. It was Cousin Jake and Crazy Steve. At first I thought Suicide was going to get to the final, then he went out. And then I was like, Crazy Steve and Cousin Jake. That didn't pan out either. I don't know much about Impact, okay?
It's just what a random fucking combination of a final it would be if Cousin Jake and Crazy Steve.
Because they're the only fucking two I knew that were still in the tournament.
Fair.
Or no, Davari's still in the tournament at this point, isn't he?
Yeah, at this point.
Yeah, fair enough, yeah.
Because we've not spoken about his match yet.
Yeah. Okay, I picked them because they're... Okay, never mind.
You picked them... Well, I think you kind of hit the nail on the head. You picked them because they're the only two that you recognised at this point.
Yeah, and Davari.
Yeah, and Davari. But Davari, evidently not a full-time Impact wrestler because he only seems to ever show up on these Impact Plus shows.
Yeah. I'm not actually even... I'm not that big a fan of Davari, to be perfectly honest.
He's fine.
He's fine. Like, mainly just he's just a big guy that turns up, wrestles and leaves. He doesn't seem to have any personality whatsoever.
Yeah.
But that's because, as you say, he's not signed, so he's not on TV every week showing any personality.
He works backstage. That's his main role. Like, he's like...
I can believe that, yeah.
Yeah. So he kind of just shows up.
A bit like Daniels in AEW.
Yeah, exactly. You know, he's a bit older. He'll wrestle when he needs to, but isn't exactly like... He's not going to show up on TV every week. Hence why he doesn't. Yeah. So he can come out and have these like one-shot matches and it not really make much of a difference.
Yeah. Fair.
So this starts with as Davari's making his entrance, Josh says, Davari going to see if he can still hang with the Young Bucks. Not those Young Bucks, like the young guys of today.
Once again, a needless reference to another company.
Again,
who we kind of have a working relationship with, but to be fair.
I can't help but again think that he didn't mean it. I don't know if this is just a case of you're thinking about it too much or I'm just giving them too much leeway. But either way, I feel like it might be somewhere in the middle of both of those. Because the kind of way where he said it, and then it was just kind of like, you could kind of hear him go, uh-oh. Because there was a delay when he's like, still hang with the Young Bucks. And it just kind of went, not those Young Bucks, the young guys of today.
Yeah.
If that was completely accidental, then it showed. But if that was a pure planned thing, then he'd done well to make it look like it was an accident.
Okay, I'll give you that.
But again, that's just me. I might be just giving them too much credit.
Very possibly.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, plus AEW are still running those goofy ads on Impact as well, so...
Yeah, I do like those ads, though. They're so fucking condescending.
It was funny, like, the first week. Now it's boring. Plus, Tony Khan's a fucking dweeb. Dweeb!
Yeah, but he's a dweeb with money. Fair play.
Yeah, he is. Like, probably the only good line I think he said yet is like, oh yeah, my grandmother gave me like $100 and a card for Christmas, and I feel like spending it on something stupid, so I'm going to make an advert for next week, which I assume he done.
Yeah,
that was quite a decent little line, but like other than that, like everything else has just been very blah from the two of them.
The reason I like Tony Khan, right, is actually from a footballing aspect.
Okay.
I love how much he winds Fulham fans up. Fulham fans fucking hate him. It's brilliant. It's absolutely brilliant. And on Twitter, he says stuff about Fulham, and go through the responses, and it's all people going like, "Just go back to your fake sport and leave us alone." Well, he owns you, so he can't leave you alone. But you know,
Yeah, like literally cannot leave you
he
alone.
literally owns you. Brilliant, man.
I know, like, he could just threaten. It's like, okay, I'll go back to AEW, and it's like, right, so what will happen to you is after I take all my money out of your precious football team?
It's English football. English football doesn't matter. There'll be a buyer that's got the same amount of money somewhere. Always is. It's like an English Premiership football team is guaranteed to make a minimum of 100 million a year. Minimum. Like, there's plenty of people with money that will buy into that.
Well, like, even the bad teams?
Yeah. See if you finish last in the English Premiership, you will earn £100 million for your league position. Once you factor in the TV money and all that. And then you get what's called parachute payments of 50 million for 3 years. So technically, you get 250 million for being shite.
Where's our cut then?
You know?
God.
For fuck's sake.
Fucking Tony Khan, we talk about your fucking show every week and we like it. I mean,
Buy some ad space with us.
yeah.
We'll do it for $100.
You give us $100 and we're fucking feeling millionaires.
We've had a wee bit of a delay, some episodes going out. And the reason behind it is because our fucking license for the software that we used to record this expired. And we had to scrape money together to pay for it to get it back on in order to put these episodes out and then start fucking to record this episode. So Tony Khan, we will literally put an AEW advert on our podcast for £100. That will set us up for a year on our software.
But then we record it again like we did with the DDP one.
Yeah.
And then we still end it with bang for some reason.
That DDP ad was great. DDP was lovely to deal with.
Well, yeah, because like as we've mentioned on the last episode, we had to pay a lot of money to get Sir Billiam Grisington to do the Healy Awards.
Yep, totally bankrupt us.
Yeah, and he fell
Totally
asleep
bankrupt
halfway
us.
through.
I know, because he's an alky bastard.
And he's old. Bear in mind. He is like about 102 years old.
Well, that's true.
You can tell from the voice, like clearly
Yeah.
he is very, very stuck in a certain generation.
I wouldn't call him old. I'd certainly call him old-timey.
Ah, yes, indeed. Does it sound like I'm an old-time radio?
Should we fill in where we got the listeners to where we got William Grisington?
Sure.
That we wanted to do an outro that finished with a fart. And it just so happened the best music we found for the fart was old-timey. So we had to go hire a guy just to do a voiceover on it. And we spent about an hour trolling through fart noises on YouTube. Try to find one to use.
It was about the whole thing. Because it was just like do 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 do. So we listened to that, and then when it went do do do, I just went, and then you were like, "Oh my god, we should end it in a fart," and it was. Then we went through a list of about like 100 fart noises, and we were like, "That one's too dry, that one's too wet and too long, that one's wet, but it's just not the right kind of wet," and there's like, "That's the one."
That's the one. Well, it was like, so I phoned you, and I'm like, Chris, we found it, buddy.
We did it.
We found, you know that new sound you're looking for? Well, listen to this.
Wow, a Simpsons reference and a
It's not
tornado.
It's not a Simpsons reference, it's Back to the Future. It's in The Simpsons. The Simpsons referenced it,
Yeah.
but it's originally Back to the Future.
Yeah, you're right. I knew they were. I forgot about that part because when you said it, I instantly went to the Simpsons reference instead. Hey, Kurt, it's your brother, Brad Cobain. You know how that depressing rock music that you've been looking for? Well, listen to this. And it was when Homer made the grunge band.
Yeah. Yep. I should have accepted that and taken the belt there, shouldn't have.
Exactly, but you were too honest, and you're like.
I think I should still get the belt because I was honest. Because you took it.
Nah.
Technically, it fell within the guidelines. You understood a Simpsons reference, and it was in context of what we were talking about. Technically, it was within the rules.
Right. Okay. Here's your stupid belt. Go fuck yourself.
Yeah, champion.
For now. Speaking of two championship caliber competitors, Daivari took on Cousin Jake. So, Jake and Daivari were fighting on the outside at one point. Jake sets Daivari up on the apron, takes a big walk up to the top of the ramp, big run up, goes for a crossbody, and Daivari moves out of the way. So Jake lands neck first on the bottom rope.
That looks so nasty, man.
Oh yeah, I wrote it looked brutal. And Daivari then starts working on Cousin Jake, which looks really weird because he starts doing stuff like a bear hug. And when Daivari is like, half the size of Cousin Jake, that just looks fucking weird. Cousin Jake fights out of a sleeper hold with the legs wrapped around his waist. Daivari laid in some really gross looking forearms on Cousin Jake at one point, and then Jake gets a set out powerbomb for 2. Jake gets a deadlift powerbomb again for a close 2. Sorry, Jake gets a set out slam for 2, then a deadlift powerbomb. I think I read that weirdly. Daivari hits his WMDDT for 2. Yes, that was a Sheikh Abdul-Bashir reference from his previous days in TNA, where he had exploding buildings in his theme music.
Okay.
Yep. Literally the beginning of his theme just kind of went, and then in the background, all you can hear is, phew, phew, phew.
Fucking hell. Alright, fair enough.
Mm-hmm.
That's not controversial in any way, shape, or form.
I know, because it was like, you weren't related to the Muhammad Hassan gimmick or anything. Oh wait, no, you were literally his best friend. And
Impact.
And he had a bunch of people dressed up like terrorists and try and murder the Undertaker on TV.
That he did, yes.
Yeah. So what's the best thing to do for Daivari when we bring him into TNA? It's like, let's put buildings exploding in his theme music and airplane noises.
Oof.
Times were different. Plus, but bear in mind, this is in 2007 or something, so it wasn't even directly after. It was a little after. So Daivari jacks the knee of Jake and locks in the figure 4. Jake manages to fight out. Daivari tries to do it again, but Jake fights out again. Then Jake gets... The only way I could describe this is kind of a spinning Uranagi, kind of, I guess, a black hole slam in technicality for the win. And Cousin Jake advances to round 3.
It is indeed. This match for me, like I said, I'm not a huge Daivari fan. I'm actually not even really a huge Cousin Jake fan. I just kind of had him in the final, like I said earlier, because I knew who he was.
Mm-hmm.
I got distracted easily during this match, so I don't really have a rock solid opinion on it. I didn't think it was awful. but at the same time, it wasn't particularly great. And arguably, the best spot in the match was the Cousin Jake into the ropes thing.
Yeah. Yeah, I would say so as well. Like, Cousin Jake, I felt like really went out of his way to try and have a good match. You know, kind of like, because obviously his cousin Cody Deaner turned on him recently, so I think that he's trying to kind of do something to kind of be like, you know, I'm not terrible. Like, I can go. Like, look at me go. Look at me go. You watching me go? I can go. And saying that, I think like he done.
Mom, are you looking? Mom, over here, Mom. That was more of a Family Guy reference, but we've been doing those too, so I'll take it. I think he has to get away from the Cousin Jake thing now.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
Like, if him and Cody Deaner aren't a thing anymore, then he needs to get away from it.
Especially stop coming out to the theme music still with the Deaner's Titantron. At least, like, if you're going to take one step, at least just have it be Cousin Jake. Because it's still coming up.
Hey, hold on. Vince McMahon owns the rights to the Titantron. You can't call it a Titantron. It's a big telly.
The Pandatron. Oh wait, shit! Dixie Carter doesn't even work for Impact anymore. It's the Calistron. There you go. I think. No wait.
Or the big telly.
Nah, the big telly is very UK-ish.
Oh, that's what I've got in my room. My living room. The big telly.
Yeah, me too. Well, I just have actually a big telly. You have a projector. I feel like it's a bit different.
Does it project a very large screen on the wall?
I mean, you're not wrong.
Very rarely am, my friend. I very rarely am.
Well, that's debatable. You're kind of wrong about that. You're kind of wrong about never being wrong.
Yeah, that's perception, my friend. Very different.
Oh, is that when you go inside? Is that when you fall asleep and then you go inside another dream and go and sleep in that dream and then you go into another dream?
Yeah.
No, that's Inception, you idiot. Ha, see, you were wrong.
Well done, sir. Well done.
The final match of the first round of the Super J-Cup tournament was Crazy Steve versus Trey Lamar. Crazy Steve starts this match being even more weird than normal.
See, I think with Crazy Steve, when I watched Impact regularly, I'm talking fucking 2012, 13.
The Menagerie.
Crazy Steve is so different now to what it was back then.
You tell.
Without really being different. Like, I've never got like a Joker vibe out him before, but now that I've started watching Impact again, I'm totally getting that vibe. I don't know if that's because it's so close to when Sting was doing the Joker thing that they weren't going down that line. But yeah, he's got such a Joker vibe to him now, and I actually quite like it.
Well, it's quite interesting that you bring that up because I totally see what you're talking about. Because back in the day when Crazy Steve was originally back in, or was originally in Impact or TNA or whatever, when he was part of the Menagerie, he couldn't speak. He communicated by honking a horn. So he was literally one of those clowns that was just like, that would just do things and go, honka, honka. And then, like, Nux or Rebel would be like, I know exactly what you're saying, Steve. Let's do that. And he's just like, honk, honk. And then I feel like again, yeah, I think you're kind of right because obviously Sting was kind of gone at this point when him, Abyss, and Rosemary started teaming up as the...
Yeah.
Oh my god, what were they called? They had a name.
Yeah, I remember them teaming up. I can't remember what it is.
But it may come to me in a minute. But anyway,
yeah. I didn't mean Sting was still there. I meant Sting had been there recently.
But that's what I mean. Is like Sting wasn't there when Steve started teaming with Abyss and Rosemary, and then that's when Crazy Steve started to finally have a voice and start cutting promos and stuff. So, and he was also a heel at the time, so I felt like he kind of needed to start talking and not be as, okay, he's still coming out with his face painted and all that shit, but he needed to be a bit more serious. So that's why he kind of started talking. So he dropped the horn and all that, and so it's kind of all kind of stemmed from that in a way.
I heard a story, I don't know if it's true, right, but I'd seen it mentioned at the time, I'm sure. I may be wrong. If I am wrong, just fucking correct me. Mm-hmm. But I see a story, apparently when Crazy Steve left TNA just after that period, he left without any other fucking contract or anywhere to go, and like paid for like a WWE trial, like out of his own pocket.
Uh-huh.
Just to try and get to WWE. I think that's quite fucking admirable, man. It's someone that just wanted it so bad they took that much of a risk.
But then there was also like a really big rumor at the time they got hired by NXT, and then so everybody sat for weeks on end, just being like, well, Crazy Steve has been hired by WWE. When is he going to show up? And then just never showed up, and then just showed up back at Impact, and it's like, okay, well, so much for that WWE run he was going to have.
Yeah. And he's also legally blind, isn't he?
Yes, he is.
Yeah, I think that may have been an issue for WWE.
Because he even brought that up at the beginning part of the promo for this match. He's like, as blind as I am, even I can see blah, 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 blah.
Yeah. I was watching this with Rob. Rob had never heard of Crazy Steve. Not Robert, Rob. And I was like to him, he's blind. And Rob's like, fuck off. I'm like, no, he is, he's blind. And he's like, nah, you're just making things up about wrestlers now, just to fucking fuck with me. And then he said that at the start of the promo. And I'm like, see? And Rob's like, kayfabe. And I'm like, it's not fucking kayfabe.
Like, he can see, but he can't see enough to not be legally blind. Like that's why everybody uses the term he is legally blind, as in he can see, he just can't see a lot. But anyway, as I kind of say, like, he starts this match by being even more weird than usual. Like, obviously he's always kind of a bit weird, but he was like very flailing the arms about, like very ooga booga kind of at the start. And Trey Lamar, his opponent, I don't even know if I mentioned his name yet. He did not know how to take him at the beginning of it. There were kind of things where they were doing lockups and then he was doing weird shit. And then we get kind of a bit later on in the match, Steve and Trey come off the top rope together, and then Steve locks in a submission, but he does it in such a way that both his shoulders are on the mat, so the ref starts counting them out, and so he needs to break it like almost this instant as he put the submission on. There was a sunset flip from Steve, but Trey grabs the ropes. Trey goes for a flip roll in and then out of the ring. So he ends up on the apron. Then he does a nice like flip roll into the ring. Then Steve tries to grab him. So as he tries to grab him, like, he does another flip out onto the apron again. Like, a lot of agility. Like, this Trey Lamar is actually quite good as well. Like, if Impact ends up hiring any of these three kind of unknowns, like, I wouldn't mind it. And this is me saying that Blake Christian was probably my least favorite of the three, but even then, still, like, absolute brilliant in ring competitor. It's just the look. I feel like he kind of needs to work on that somehow. I don't really know what you do, dye your hair or something. I don't know. But Trey Lamar tries to confuse Steve, but then Steve ends up on the top rope, hits his diving DDT for the victory, and Crazy Steve advances to round 2. I believe this is like one of the many times that DDTs were won between these two Impact shows. But then we move on to Moose being interviewed. So the little ring announcer, she asks her question to Moose, and then he just stands there staring at the camera for like 20 seconds. I'm like, this is great television. Just staring at an angry man saying nothing.
Hey, Moose is really bugging me just now.
Go on.
Because I get the whole thing they're trying to do, right? But see when he had the match with EC3, and EC3 was like trying to bring the best out of him. I kind of like, do you know what I mean? Is this what you want? Is this what you want? Yes, this is what I want. And then he just kind of, from that, just went back to doing more or less the same thing.
Yeah, exactly. As soon as that feud
Do you know what I
ended,
mean? I'm like, what's the fucking point?
I know. Very weird.
Yeah. I have a podcat that's just come in and joined me.
Hey, there he is.
So if I let out a yelp, it's because he's bit me again. Which he is going for. Hey, buddy.
Huh. Interesting.
You have to learn to stop biting me.
Somebody has just linked me to Drew Gulak and his Twitch channel, where he's sitting watching Sendai Girls matches. But I mean, that's interesting. And to be honest, if I wasn't in the middle of a fucking podcast right now, I'd probably sit and watch with him. But I thought WWE talent were not allowed to do Twitch and all that crap anymore.
Maybe he's trying to get fired.
Ugh, Jesus. Well, yeah, after the appearance that he had on Raw recently, where he's like, I'm going to be in the Royal Rumble match. And then Adam Pearce was like, you can't just announce yourself. And Drew Gulak's like, but everyone else has. AJ Styles just did it. And then, like, pretty much Adam Pearce needed to go around, like, any which way other than saying, yeah, but you're a jobber, so nobody cares about you.
Yeah, it sounds about right.
Yeah. And then he loses on Raw, and he is not going to be in the Royal Rumble match.
Fergal, stop knocking all my cans over.
Jesus Christ, Fergal.
Yeah, that's right. You walk out of here with your head down.
Yep.
Oh no, yeah, you actually left. Sorry, buddy, I love you. Come back.
I know.
Oh man, I feel so bad now.
Well, you know what they say, it's that old meme that you see on the internet of like, you will never see betrayal, or you will never feel betrayal more than when you pick up your cat and take him into the bedroom when you're going into the room and then they get up and just walk right back out.
Yeah, I know.
So I want you to be in here with me. No. And then they just leave.
Well, see, to be fair, last night, he came into my room just as I was going to bed and he jumped up my bed and I was like, oh, hi, buddy. And I sat up and I was getting a wee pet, a scratch and stuff. And he was sitting basically right in the middle of the bed between my legs, right? Obviously, I was under the covers, he was above them. And then he fell asleep and I was like, oh no, how did I get comfortable?
Yeah.
So I ended up like just pure lying back in the most uncomfortable position known to fucking man. Like, with my legs kind of, like, spread but arched, because he was kind of sleeping in it, like a hammock, for, like, 2.5 hours, man. I couldn't get to sleep, because he was fucking in the way.
Welcome to Cat Dad.
This is backfired.
Uh-huh. I've said that how many times at this point?
Oh, I know.
Even to the point where, like, when I was over...
I wouldn't have him any other way.
When I was over at yours recently... and I was sitting watching Raw, and I was like, "Oh well, like I'll jump on that other couch because it's lower, so I can like dangle my legs over, and it'll probably be more comfortable." And I laid down, I was like, "Oh, that is not a comfortable couch." But then he came and he slept between my legs, and I was like, "Oh no, I can't move now." And
it's amazing how much cats dictate your fucking sleeping pattern.
I know. So like I sat there for ages, and I was like really uncomfortable. Like my neck was killing me because that couch was solid, and it finally got to that point where I dozed off for a little bit, woke up, and my neck was in a cramp, and like I was just like, I'm gonna need to move. So I managed to spin move my way out of the way where I didn't actually disturb him, and he just continued lying there for ages, and then slept on the other couch. But it was a struggle because he's not anywhere near as sensitive as my cats are. Like even if I slightly like just move my leg, like Belle's like, ah, I'm gonna die.
He's the only living being in this flat that gives less of a fuck about anything than I do. It's like, oh, you're lying here, tough. It's mine now.
This is my area. So, Moose then finally starts to say something, and he says that he hates people that make stupid decisions. And when you asked for this, match, Mac, that was stupid, and that's what made Moose angry. Because before, he wasn't actually angry at Mac, but all these stupid decisions that Mac made by constantly coming after Moose is what came to this. So, build up for the main event tonight. Then we go right into the second round of the Super X Cup. So that is what it's called, Super X. I was about to say Super J Cup there, and I panicked. As Ace Austin takes on Cousin Jake. So Josh says coming into this match that, Jake coming into this match with war wounds on his head. Look at that big red scar on his head. It's like, no, he had that during the promos before the match and during the first match.
Okay. Yeah, no, it's right. Yeah, he did. You're right.
Like,
I forgot about that. You're 100% right.
It was a big red mark that you could not fucking miss, but yet somehow, Josh Matthews managed to miss it. And especially since we seen those opening promos where, like, his face takes up the entire fucking TV and he just has this massive red mark on his head. But it's kind of wee bit unforgivable, that one.
Yeah. And that man got promoted.
Yes. Well, at least he got promoted at commentary.
Well, I was going to say, is that the equivalent of being moved upstairs? Well, they don't really want to fire you, but they're like, let's give him another job and see how he does it that.
Yeah, it makes me wonder in terms of what exactly is he going to be doing now. Like, obviously, you kind of mentioned that he's been promoted, and you told us it was to, like, head of production or something?
No, a senior producer.
Is that not kind of what I just said, but just with different words?
No. The senior's probably like mid-level. So there'll be a level above him that will be the head honcho.
Okay, fair enough. But, like, I mean, like, that's that kind of question I have is, like...
Executive producer, that's the level above.
Ah, okay. So what... Right, I mean, obviously, I don't really understand. Like, I don't know if you do either, but I'll ask the question anyway. Like, what would that kind of entail? Do you know?
See if you think about it like a call centre team.
Mm-hmm.
You've got your call centre staff that are picking up the phones and answering them, right?
Mm-hmm.
You've got a team leader who those staff report into.
Uh-huh.
And then that team leader will report into a call centre manager. Josh Matthews is like the team leader.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Actually, that makes like a world of sense.
So you've got basically he looks after all the lackeys that are doing all the work.
Very layman's terms, but yeah, like sometimes that's the best way to understand some things.
Yeah, so you've got producer, senior producer, executive producer.
So during this match, Cousin Jake does this badass hip toss to Ace Austin, which sends him out of the ring, and then he's caught by Fulton. And then Jake dives out onto both men.
I only discovered that fucking Fulton was an Impact and who he is. Well, I knew who he was as soon as I seen him, but I was like, is it? I had to like Wikipedia it. But yes, it is.
Yeah, because see, that's the thing. See, recently, while you've been watching Impact, those two have been MIA.
Yeah.
Which is quite...
I did not realise he was an Impact.
Which is quite weird, the fact that, like, you were like, oh, I only knew Cousin Jake and Crazy Steve in this tournament. And it was like, Ace Austin's been around for ages. And then I was kind of thinking back, it's like, yeah, but he's not been on Impact for a while.
I knew the name Ace Austin, but I knew absolute zip about him. Do you know what I mean? I actually quite like him, to be fair.
Like, I mean, going into this, like, Ace Austin was... Like, Ace Austin's the fucking shit, by the way. Like, and he was part of that Slammiversary main event where Eddie Edwards won the belt back. And when Eddie won the belt, as happy as I was for Eddie, because I love Eddie Edwards, I was fucking raging because, like, both me and Robert were just like, that's fucking bullshit. Like, Ace Austin should have won. Because he should have.
Fair.
Yeah. And then...
wait a minute. Did you say it was Slammiversary?
Yeah. When Eddie won the belt.
I did. I did watch that. I didn't click that's who he was wrestling. I remember Eddie winning it.
Yeah, but also
that'd have been the first time I seen Ace Austin then.
Yeah, but also like that's when you weren't even fully watching Impact at that point. I don't think you just kind of watched Slammiversary because we were watching it. I'm pretty sure
that's not even the reason I watched it, because I think if I remember right at the time we discussed it. You and Robert were just going to cover it. I think the only reason I watched it is because I had some free time and I wanted something to do, and I was like, I might as well fucking watch fucking Impact.
Yeah. Yeah, and then like kind of...
It turned out to be a really good show.
Kind of like after that, like I remember it was a couple of months in between before you started watching again. I think it was like kind of when we started talking about Bound for Glory coming up was when we started talking about Impact more, and that was kind of around the time that you sort of joined. So there was at least a good like 3-4 months between those two shows. So I don't really blame you for not remembering who Ace Austin was.
Yeah, I genuinely didn't. You've just reminded me there.
And then, as I say, he's not really been in Impact much recently. I don't know if he's been injured or something else, because I mean he's not been on Impact and a whole bunch of tapings, so unless he missed them for some miscellaneous reason, which I hope is maybe not COVID related or whatever, but
well, it still could be COVID related, but it might be COVID related as in I'm not going anywhere just now.
Yeah.
I'm not getting on a fucking aeroplane. I'm not fucking. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Which is basically what Roman Reigns did.
Oh yeah, yeah, and he.
So if the big dog can get away with it, then and Sammy as well, actually.
Callahan?
No, Zayn.
Yeah. I was like, because I was pretty sure, like, no, Callahan's been there most of the time.
No, Zayn.
Yeah, but this hip toss looks fucking awesome. Then Jake started chasing Ace Austin around the ring, which there's a fat cat in my way. Get out of the way of my notes. Tackle, you can't be up here. You're too fat. You cover like my entire fucking laptop screen. So then Jake starts chasing Ace Austin around the ring, and this is when Fulton gets in his way again. And then Ace Austin has a drop kick, and then the Fosbury flop over the top rope. Ace counters a deadlift powerbomb that Jake goes for. Ace gets a crucifix pin for 2. Then Jake hits another big slam for 2 right after that. Ace hits a spinning kick and then a kick in the corner. But then Jake catches Ace and then plants him again. Sends him off the ropes. Is looking for that spinning Uranagi. But only gets 2 as Ace kicks out. Jake goes up top, tries to gut wrench Ace Austin off the top, but Ace fights off and then hits the fold from the top rope for the victory, which is kind of like a diving blockbuster.
Yeah.
So Ace Austin advances to the final. Swan backstage starts talking to Willie Mack, sort of building him up in advance of the I Quit match, saying that Moose is starting to get really dangerous now. So kind of backs up Moose a little.
Well, he is starting to get really dangerous, but I'm still not buying him. Like, I'm still not buying what he's selling. Do you know what I mean?
You and me both, son. I mean, the thing is, like, the main event was actually as good as a Mac and Moose match can be, but even then, it's still like when I'm going into a match with two people that I'm not exactly the most passionate about, like, it is hard to be excited about something like that. But nevertheless,
Yeah.
we'll get to it because, as I say, it was better than I was expecting it to be. Like, the two of them put in a shift, let's say. Blake Christian takes on Crazy Steve. Steve and Blake lock up, and then Steve starts asking his monkey if he did good. During this match, I noticed that Blake actually has a black eye, so he must have got that from his first match. So, after a second tie-up, Blake backs up into the corner and accidentally kicks Crazy Steve's monkey out of the ring. And then Steve goes nuts and starts beating him down. And he's just like, "Why did you do that?" And it's like, it's got an accident. Steve, with a cannonball, later on, gets a 2 count. Blake does an awesome roll through and a standing frog splash for 2. So it's kind of like the way that he rolls through on like a pinfall, as if he was going to, I don't really know what you call that, like an Oklahoma roll, maybe? No? Like, the one, you know, like how, say, like, you were up on your shoulders, like if Kenny Omega was about to give you One-Winged Angel, but then you just rolled forward and then rolled through. So he sort of done that and then, like, rolled through, bang, right up, standing frog splash, even done the frog motion. Like this was the part where I was like, right, Blake Christian, like, fucking, like, great in-ring competitor. Like, I ain't ever taking that away from the guy, like, no matter what I kind of said about him in the first match. And then Crazy Steve does the upside down, which is the kind of choke over the top rope with the legs, which is what Rosemary also does. And I still like the way that the two of them do such similar moves, kind of harping back to their days as a team.
Can I ask a question? How long has it been called the Upside Down?
Probably ever since Stranger Things was a thing, I'm going to assume.
Yeah, I was wondering if it was a Stranger Things reference. It was a genuine question, not trying to fucking flaunt Stranger Things knowledge or anything.
No.
Just I am so fucking out of touch with Impact between about 2013 to like 2020. I don't know.
I mean, it makes total sense for their kind of characters, though, to have that kind of weird, ghosty, whatever the fuck, relating to that kind of weird show that I've never seen.
Have you never seen Stranger Things?
Nah.
Watch it, man. It's brilliant. They just announced season 4 yesterday. So excited.
Maybe we'll get round to it.
See, if you watch one episode, you'll get hooked on it.
We did watch the first episode, but I feel like we didn't really give it enough of a chance, I will admit. Like, but obviously that was kind of more back in the day where we had so much more to do in life.
Yeah.
And now,
Take 2 weeks off from watching wrestling and watch the 3 seasons of Stranger Things.
you know that's not.
Me and Robert will cover the podcast.
Okay. I'm genuinely interested just to see how the podcast happens without me.
Me and Robert can handle it. Can't we, Robbo? Robbo, he's a text.
No.
If I actually message the group chat, I'm not even going to say to him I've mentioned this in the episode, and I'm fully expecting a message in the group chat in the next day or so.
Yeah, exactly. Because our boy, even though he's part of the show now, still listens to
Every
our
fucking
podcast.
episode.
He's the best.
I can't listen to them, man, because the sound of my own voice gives me the heebie-jeebies.
Well, like, on the occasion I listen to the podcast because, like, I'm sometimes I end up so drunk by the end of it I forget what I say, so it's almost like listening to a brand new show, except the fact that I done it.
Or it's like listening to... it's like your night out being recorded. Do you remember after Survivor Series, when we watched it at the Cat House, we went down by the Clyde to record a reaction episode and I fell?
Down the stairs.
Yep.
I'll never forget that.
Yeah, I literally couldn't get back up. So I was like, fuck it, I'm fine. Just record.
No, because you hit record before you fell, because that's on the thing.
Yeah.
You were like, alright, we're about to do something a bit different. And then you could just hear me, like, I was about, like, I don't know, about 20 feet away from you, just be like, you okay?
No.
And then it's just started going, I can see your butt.
I wish I still had that episode.
Oh no. Just because, like, it's so funny listening to you going, alright, we're about to do it. And then just hearing you, like, rolled in the stairs. Oh my god.
I've actually realised I might still have it. Give me a second.
Well, I'll finish this match while you have a look.
Nah, I don't.
Ah, bollocks. That was quick.
I was looking at my phone because obviously I lost my phone drunkenly on Saturday. I've went to see if it's pulled through on iCloud, but it hasn't, so I don't have it anymore.
Rest in peace.
And I'm going to give this as a little bit of Chris Hughes' nod to life and things not to do. See, if you've drank a keg of beer and it starts snowing outside at 9:30 at night, do not decide to go for a walk. You will regret it in the morning, as I did.
Did you fall?
No, I lost my phone.
I know, but I'm assuming you lost your phone because you fell.
No, I think what happened was I went to take I remember going to take my gloves out of my pocket in my jacket. I think my phone was in that pocket. So my phones fell when I took the gloves out. And because it was snowing and it was like a fresh layer of snow, I've not heard it hit the ground. Do you know what I mean? I just kept walking. I really should have put some fucking music or something on, because then I'd have realised when the music cut off.
I was going to say, like, for one, like, why didn't you put your gloves on before you went out? And two, like, why were you not listening to music when you went for a walk?
Because I was drunk and I wanted to experience the snow.
Yeah, but the best thing you do is put on Sting's AEW theme while that was happening.
Yeah, that is in theory what I should have done.
Mm-hmm.
But no, I didn't do that.
Ooh.
I was just looking at the window and I was like, "It's snowing. Let's go a walk." No.
Or
I didn't even get to hit anything with a snowball.
Or in my stance of, it's snowing. Let's stay inside because I'm going to need to fucking walk in this shite in the fucking morning. God damn it. I hate the snow. Not as much as I hate the ice, but...
Didn't even get to hit anyone with a snowball because fucking the rest of the world was abiding by the stay-at-home order. Clearly they didn't appreciate the snow I did. But once again, I was 10 pints deep at that point.
Which is quite funny because the next day after it snowed, I seen about 1 billion fucking people out building snowmen's. Snow.
Yeah, that was during the day though. Like,
Snowman's...
I was out at 10 o'clock at night.
Snowman-I?
Snowmen.
Snowman-I.
Snowman-I, let's go with that. Nah, the difference is, I was out at like 10 o'clock at night doing it. If a cop car drove by me, I was 100% getting pulled.
Well, you could just be like, I'm doing some exercise. Leave me alone.
That was my plan.
Exactly.
It's probably quite difficult to explain the 4 cans of fucking Terence I had tucked away in my fucking jacket right enough.
Just to keep me warm.
Yeah. They came out that fridge in my living room. That's a very cold fridge. That wouldn't fly. So anyway, next time you feel the need to go out walking drunk, just stay home.
Or play music. Because whether wired or wireless headphones, as soon as that music dies, you know, something's missing. Or that one time where I was on the phone to one of my friends for so long that I started grabbing at my pockets and then realized that my phone was missing. Only for my friend who was on the other end of the phone to be like, dude, you're on the phone to me? No wonder it's not in your pocket. And I was like, oh. Well, fuck.
Yeah, I've totally done that before.
So at the end of the match, Blake Christian hangs up Crazy Steve on the top rope. Bear in mind, let me just say that again. Blake Christian hangs Crazy Steve up on the top rope. Then he climbs the top turnbuckle and then hits a 450 splash on top of Crazy Steve, who's hanging on the top rope. That's a lot less of person to try and hit a move with, and arguably so much more dangerous.
Yeah.
So he hits the 450 and then wins the match. And then I know that was really odd, but really awesome. But
yeah, it was a pretty cool spot.
But it's just so strange. Just really strange.
That's what I want to see though. I don't want to see the same shit all the time. It's nice to see something strange and different. You're a bit like, how did that happen? And on the last episode, which ironically isn't out yet, it'll better be out in the next hour or so. We talked about on AEW like that best moonsault ever Meltzer driver sort of thing, and it looked so strange, and it didn't look like it should have worked. And to be fair, it probably didn't work, but at least it's different. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Because there's going to be one time for every 10 spots you do that are a bit different and a bit out there and a bit look like they shouldn't work, you're going to get that one that is absolute gold, and we'll be fucking pissing our frillies on the podcast talking about it.
Yeah, totally. I mean, people need to kind of stand out in different ways these days, and this is kind of their way to do it, I guess.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And so this was definitely more the match where Blake Christian started to very much get my attention. And it was like, right, well, you know what? Like, regardless of what I thought about him in the first match, like he really started to kick up another level here. Mm-hmm. And definitely I'd say like, why not? Like if he gets a job at this in Impact, then fucking good for the guy.
Well, I'm assuming since he won, he probably will.
Well,
just
yeah.
That, didn't I?
Yeah, because you're also wrong.
No. What? I thought you said Blake Christensen.
Well, he won this
Blake
match.
Christian?
He won this match, yeah. So
did not win the full thing?
Nope.
Oh my god, how drunk was I watching this? I'm sure he won the full thing.
Nope. And I watched the end of this show today, so fresh in the old noodle.
I watched it. I watched it. I stuck it on at 10 o'clock on Sunday night, drunk.
Well, there's probably
to watch.
There's probably your problem.
I was sure he won.
Unless you were thinking of this match, maybe.
No, I was sure he won the whole fucking thing. Beat Ace Austin in the final.
He didn't.
Really? Fucking hell, man. I need to lay off a drink. I genuinely thought he won. I thought he won since fucking Monday.
Fucking hell. Well, I'll run through that in a couple of minutes then, Jesus.
I can't wait to hear how that match went.
Right, so up next, Jazz took on Jordynne Grace. So you've kind of been watching Jazz over these past couple of weeks in the tag tournament. What do you kind of reckon about Jazz, since she's obviously a bit older, looking to retire very, very soon? Obviously you've probably seen her in WWE and all that back a few years ago. Actually,
a few years ago,
a lot of years ago, at this point. But what do you reckon of her, just in general, like right now? Does she still have it?
I mean, I don't think she's bad, but she's definitely not what she used to be. If she wants to have another wee mini run before she retires, then I have absolutely no issue with that whatsoever. It'd be interesting to see where she goes from this point. But I'm not opposed to her having another wee run if she wants to have one. I think there's much worse talent out there than her.
Yeah, totally. It kind of went to show it in this match as well, just by the kind of way that, like, there was a few spots where it's almost like experience kind of took over like Jordynne Grace's power.
Mm-hmm.
So during the match, Jazz hit one of her patented leg drops for 2, and then she tried to hang Jordynne Grace on the bottom rope, but Grace starts using her power to hold the bottom rope to try and prevent it. So Jazz uses her experience by kicking the arms out and then grabbing them and then using that leverage to hang her up that way. There was a big suplex from Jazz for 2, and then she continues working submissions to kind of keep Jordynne Grace down. Grace starts to fire back with a heel pick as Jazz was trying to look for a belly to back suplex, and then she manages to hit a backdrop. Grace slaps Jazz on the back of the head, then starts to hit a few splashes in the corner. Then Jazz goes for her finisher, which I have down as kind of the implant buster, because it's the same sort of maneuver, but like just the way that she does it, where she hoists her up and then just drops her. So I don't know if that's that kind of thing of maybe just a slight bit of a receipt, or could she not hold up Jordynne Grace?
I would probably say she probably couldn't hold her up, because Jordynne Grace she looks like a heavy girl. I don't mean that as in she's
a chunky monkey,
overweight.
Yeah.
I mean that
she's solid.
I mean that
she's
because
solid,
she's so
muscle.
fucking she's built like a brick shit house. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's not saying anything about her being overweight or anything like that. When I say that, I just mean she's built like a brick shit house, like a proper bodybuilder. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, and as they say, muscle weighs more than fat.
I was about to say, I believe muscle weighs more than fat as well, so that probably makes it even heavier. Say, like, because someone as experienced as Jazz could probably look at her, would be able to go, yeah, I could lift that. But you're maybe expecting to lift that where it's more fat than muscle. And Jordynne Grace's case, it's more muscle than fat, which is obviously maybe going to add a few extra pounds that maybe Jazz wasn't expecting.
Yeah, exactly, because that's that kind of thing. It's like, no, I am not body shaming when I say this, but like, if you looked at Jordynne Grace, say like 5 years ago, completely different sort of body than she is now, and I think that may be one of those kind of things where she's worked hard for the body that she has now compared to how she used to look. And I mean, I'm not even saying that there was anything wrong with the way she used to look, if I'm honest with you, but
I couldn't tell you how she used to look. I didn't even know what she looked like until I started watching Impact. Which is bizarre, given how much Progress I used to watch, and she was the Progress Women's Champion for a while.
Yeah, but that was kind of during the run while she was in Impact. So even if you did see her, you kind of seen the new Jordan Grace as she is now.
Right, okay, fair enough.
I'm talking well before she was properly known. Just because I watched like one random show. It was called Battle of the Sexes, and it was on WrestleMania weekend, and this was it had what's his face, Matt Riddle against Deanna Purrazzo before she was a big deal, like in one of the first matches, and then like Lufisto and her were a tag team on that show, and that's like one of the first times that I had seen her. And then also on that show was Jimmy Havoc versus Jessica Havoc. And during that match, somebody shouted, because bear in mind there was probably about 30 people in the crowd for this, and I felt so bad for every wrestler. Especially people like Matt Riddle that are like literally on the cusp of going to WWE at this point. Mm-hmm. But during the Havoc versus Havoc match, one dude in the crowd went, "Oh, the winner gets to keep the surname Havoc," and then fucking Jimmy Havoc turned around and goes, "Ah, yeah, it's not like we've heard that one before."
I always remember. I think it was Father's Day where Jimmy Havoc sent a virtual Father's Day card. No, sorry. Oh, what was it again? It was Matt Cross, Jimmy Havoc, and Havoc.
Son of Havoc.
Had this weird... Yeah. Had this weird thing on Twitter. Oh, no, it was something... It was Jimmy Havoc's birthday or something like that, and Son of Havoc. Aye, it was Matt Cross's birthday. And Jimmy Havoc was like, "Oh, happy birthday, Dad." And then Jessica Havoc's like, "You never wish me a happy birthday." Like, if something like that is totally went out of my head.
Right, so Matt Cross was Son of Havoc. So it must have been Jimmy Havoc's birthday.
Yeah, I know that. I know that. But it was how this Twitter thing happened. It was hilarious. It was Father's Day or something like that, but it was brilliant.
So it must have been Matt Cross, Son of Havoc, sending a Father's Day card to Jimmy Havoc, is my assumption.
Yes, that was it. It was fucking hilarious.
And then Jessica Havoc coming in with "Oh, you didn't wish me a happy Mother's Day" is, again, the assumption.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's what happened.
So after the implant buster, Jazz locks Grace in the STF. Grace managed to finally fight out, which is actually the move that Jazz has used on multiple occasions to win like such belts as the NWA title. And then as we're kind of getting into this match, Josh Matthews lists all the Hall of Fames that Jazz is in. I don't think she's in the WWE Hall of Fame yet, which is quite surprising because she's arguably one of the much better wrestlers that should be. If you're inducting people like the Bella Twins.
She will be eventually. You can't put all the proper legends in straight away. Then you run out of proper legends. Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But I mean, like that's one of these kind of like things where it's like, if you're going to talk about it, people like Jazz should be in before people like Tori Wilson and the Bella Twins. But it is what it is.
Yeah, I suppose.
Jazz with a slingshot into the corner and then some jabs. Grace ducks the last one and gets roll up for 2. Jazz hits a tornado DDT for another close 2 count. Then Jazz goes for a roll up, but Grace continues the momentum, and then Grace rolls through, pins Jazz 1, 2, 3, and Grace wins. It was a decent little match.
Yeah, it was. I fairly enjoyed it. I don't have any criticisms of it at all.
Yeah. Jazz still looking good, even like in her last kind of couple of days as a wrestler. So fuck
Yeah.
it, like yeah, like as you were kind of saying at the beginning of this match, if she was to have one more run, and arguably I would not be opposed to one more Jazz title run, even if it was literally just her winning the belt on in her retirement, like sort of match.
Yeah, I wouldn't be opposed to that either.
Yeah, so she could have done a Trish Stratus and won the belt on her way out, like because she's never won the Impact Wrestling Knockouts title before. So wouldn't that be a sweet little way for her to go? It was like her beat Deonna Purrazzo, and then she's like, okay, well after tonight, I'm retired. So and then she vacates it.
Yeah, again, I'm not against that.
Yeah. So we get to the final of the Super X Cup as Blake Christian. I keep wanting to say Christensen for some reason.
I said Christensen earlier when I thought he won.
Blake Christian takes on Ace Austin in the final of the Super X Cup. Blake comes in holding his ribs after the matches he's been through earlier on tonight. He's kind of been a bit through the ringer, whereas Ace Austin kind of comes in a bit more, kind of refreshed. I mean, arguably, Ace Austin has had more time to sort of lick his wounds, per se. Ace Austin does the Fosbury flop. Yeah, that's going to get more difficult over time. Over the top rope, which still looks amazing. Like no matter how many times he's done it tonight, and he's done it once in every match. And then this is the part where I was just like, hell, I just love fucking Ace Austin in general, to be honest. Like, Ace then starts working over the injured ribs throughout the match. Blake hits a DDT on the top turnbuckle, which looked really interesting. And then he has a sunset flip for 2. There was the Kota Ibushi style moonsault to the outside by Blake. Then he sends Ace back in the ring, hits a 450 for a close 2 off the springboard. Ace sets up for a suplex. Blake gets out and takes the legs out from under Ace. Then hits a big stomp as Ace was hanging on the corner. Blake sets Ace up for the 450 while he was hanging on the ropes, but Ace moves and hits springboard dropkick. There was this weird leg submission that Ace Austin applies, but Blake gets to the ropes. Blake then hits the standing Spanish fly and hits another dive to the outside. And then he sets Ace Austin up for... they said this in commentary as well. It was like the closest that they could sort of say to it was the Eye of the Hurricane, the Hurricane's old finishing maneuver on the stage. And then sends Ace back into the ring again. And Blake sets up for that spinning splash that he did in the opening match. But Ace gets out the way. Ace goes for the fold, but Blake counters into a pin for 2. Then there's a massive series of about 10 different variations of 2 counts. Ace tries using his playing card again to slice the webbing of the fingers, but Blake tears the card out of his hands, and they start going back and forth. Like they start clenching fingers, and then they're kind of rolling back with the other, like pushing on their chest, and then they both go back and forth kind of doing this, and then Ace just at one point flips over, hits the fold, and gets the win, like literally out of nowhere. This is a very bizarre finish, but the whole kind of thing with Ace Austin is kind of the RKO sort of thing of Ace can hit this fold out of nowhere and then gets the victory, and is the is the champion of the Super X Cup.
Yeah, I genuinely thought it was fucking Blake.
So before we jump into the main event, I've got 2 responses so far. If anything changes between now and the next episode, obviously I'll follow you in the next episode. But 2 episodes to the whole awesome ass Suicide Gear thing that I asked. One person says, right, I loved the new look when he returned. And the other kind of says, I think it depends who's under the mask in any given match. The new gear might be less forgiving on different sizes than the traditional spandex / lycra outfit, which is maybe the reason why it got changed back. So maybe that whole thing we were sort of thinking earlier of when you said that Wentz played Suicide in 2020, maybe that was Wentz under the mask originally.
Yeah.
And then after conversations about him potentially leaving, they kind of just went back to the regular suit so that kind of anybody could wear it.
Yeah, I think that's the most logical explanation. That it's to do with someone different being under the mask. Then who's under the mask now?
Which still kind of sucks. They should still try and remake the thing. Because it seems to be Caleb for like the longest time, so why not just like, give him 2 jobs? Because Caleb with a K barely wrestles on Impact, so why not just have him wrestle a Suicide, like, predominantly? And then wrestle partially as Caleb with a K. Just being Tenille Dashwood's sometimes tag team partner.
Yeah. I mean, it does work. Like, yeah. I ain't disagreeing on that. Then that's the end of that chapter.
Well, you've already got the belt, so chill the fuck out.
Oh, yeah, I forgot.
So your main event of the evening was Moose versus Willie Mack in an I Quit match. And all these additions to Moose's theme song are getting kind of annoying now. They've got that kind of like annoying hallelujah or whatever the fuck it is, choir kind of thing at the beginning of Moose's crappy theme. When he had this per badass like rap theme for like the first like sort of month of his run, and then they changed it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't understand it. The badass rap theme was awesome. And the only reason I bring that up is because I heard his debut when he had turned heel and wrestled in the UK during one of those Twitch things that they used to do. Those were awesome. Got to see Eddie Edwards. Got to see Jimmy Havoc versus Sami Callihan in a barbed wire bat match. Su Yung took on Lana Austin. Man, that was a great show. So we'll cut like kind of partway through the match because this was quite a long match where they essentially wrestled for the first half of it and then kind of kept asking, oh, do you want to quit? So we kind of get into the more nitty-gritty part of the match here when I started taking the notes of 2 of them were outside and Mac gets sent into one of the guardrails. He then gets sent into the other and ends up flying like completely over the other guardrail and splats on the floor. Then Moose sends him back into the ringside area that at least has some mats. Moose continued to demand that the ref not ask Mac if he wants to quit. Moose then brings out a table and Mac fights free from a powerbomb attempt. He starts to fight back with a chair and then then back in the ring, Moose is sent shoulder and head first into a chair that's propped up in a corner. Mac chokes Moose with a chair at one point, with Moose giving a very panicked no. Mac attempts his third 6-star frog splash of the match, this time featuring a steel chair on the chest of Moose. But Moose pops up and crotches Mac on the top rope. Moose then goes out onto the apron with Mac sitting up on the top rope and delivers a go to hell from the second rope onto the floor through a table, which looked absolutely brutal because it looked like halfway through this move, Moose sort of lost his handling, and so Mac just kind of sailed through the air.
Mm.
And like he splatted through this table, splatted onto the floor, and then there was this really long sort of like kind of period where both men just very slowly crawled back in the ring, and there was this like really good like up close shot of Mac where like his elbow was busted open. It was busted bad. So Moose hits a Uranagi, but Mac says no. More chairs get sent at the ring. Moose and I said that twice. Moose sends chairs at the ring. Goes up top with a chair. Looks like Mac was lying on the ground. Looks like he was just going to dive and send a chair like gut first, ribs first, whatever. In the Mac, but Moose gets back up, fights off. The two of them end up start fighting outside, with Mac beating Moose with a chair. Moose collapses on top of the timekeeper, who has the TNA title. Then he swings around, smashes Mac in the head with the belt, sends him back in. Moose then climbs on top of Mac and then uses the back elbows that he's been doing constantly to knock him out in their previous matches. Then Moose sets another chair up around Mac's neck. And as Moose is about to use a steel chair to hit the chair that's around Mac's neck, Rich Swann runs out and says, this is too far. This is too far. What is this? What do you want? Are you wanting a shot at this belt? And points at the Impact World title. And he's like, I'll give you a belt. I'll give you a title shot anytime you want. Just don't do this. Like, you're taking this far too far. Like, I'll give you a title shot whenever you want. And then Moose gets on the mic and goes, that's all I ever wanted. I quit. And then leaves.
Oh man, really?
Yeah.
We never cleared up. I didn't watch this match because Moose is annoying me. That's actually quite a cool finish, though.
Yeah, but I kind of feel as if like it may have been a bit better if Swann was like, "No, I'm saying this on his behalf," and then said that Mac quits because.
Well, wasn't a Mac quit match, is it? This isn't McDonald's Federation Wrestling.
Yeah, but
MDFW.
Like, okay, that'd be hilarious. Hamburglar is a repo man.
Yeah. And you've got fucking... What's his face is Doink?
Ronald?
Yeah.
Grimace as like Rikishi.
But McDonald's has closed down all its restaurants, so If you need to make some dough, Mackie D's, that one's for free.
Yeah,
Create a wrestling company.
exactly. Try to think what other characters there are. Is Grimace even the McDonald's character, or am I thinking somebody from like fucking Sesame Street? Grimace is like the big. Grimace is like the big purple guy. I'm pretty sure.
What, Barney?
Not Barney. I seen Barney live.
No way.
Yep. Seen Barney live when I was in Florida. And apparently, like, still to this, I was probably about like 6, maybe.
That frightens me, man. I've just got a sudden feeling of how much older I am than you, because I don't even remember a Barney episode, because I was too old for Barney when it came out.
Well, it was like Barney live, so I don't think it was an episode that was recorded. I think it was just
I know
show.
that. I know that. What I'm saying is, I don't remember even watching a Barney episode because I'd grown out it. In fact, I'm not that much older than you ever.
You're like
30, aren't you?
Mm-hmm.
I'm 33 in March, so 2.5
I'd say you're
years,
like
maybe.
2 and a bit years. It's not like much.
It just goes to show you, man, how quickly kids' TV changes.
Tell me about it, man. Like, yeah, like one of my friends, like, I've kind of spoke about like the childhood stuff that I used to talk about growing up, and he's like, I have no idea what you're talking about. It's like there was only 2 years between that. How do you not know what I'm talking about?
I don't know. I don't know if you know this, right? You might do, but I'm just going to say it on air anyway. I'm not going to give second names for obvious reasons. But you know how Ashley?
Mm-hmm.
Do you know she worked on Barney and Friends and is friends with the person that actually played Barney?
No way.
100% true. Ask her.
I wonder if it was the same Barney Asa.
Oh, it was in, probably not, but on the TV character Barney, she worked on that show and is friends with the guy that was under the costume, and then she showed me his Facebook. Legitimately, ask her.
Well, have you seen a big fat quiz of everything? I think it was specifically that was aired this year, or the end of last year.
No.
Well, they brought this woman out, like, because I mean, you know the gimmick. Like, one of the questions is, here's a random person. This person was famous for doing one certain thing, and you can only ask them yes or no questions. And they brought this, like, really, like, pretty blonde girl on, and they were like, okay, so who is this person? Are you famous for being on telly? She's like, yep. And then they're like, there were people like, was it like a TikTok? Was it Instagram? Was it like online? They were like, no. And then eventually they sussed it out. So this like really pretty, like quite young girl, and it turns out that like the person they brought on stage
Teletubbies baby?
was the Teletubbies baby.
I just guessed that there, by the way. Totally guessed that.
Was the baby that was the son in the Teletubbies.
Yeah.
And then they showed a clip, and then like one person went, "Oh my god, you look so alike," and Jimmy Carr's like, "Well, yeah, they're the same person."
I just totally guessed that there. As soon as you started telling it, I was like, Teletubbies, baby.
Yeah.
Got to be.
Well, who knew, like, when I was, like, fucking that many years old, that I would grow up to fancy the fucking weird son child of the Teletubbies.
I'm sure one of the Teletubbies is in jail now as well. I may be wrong, but that might just be vicious rumour. But I'm sure, like, Poe or something like that's in jail now.
Fucking hell, the littlest one. That would be hilarious.
I don't quote me on it, but I'm sure I've seen that somewhere.
Well, I did read a news report, granted this was a couple of years ago, that apparently like a minor character in Power Rangers had murdered two people by attaching them to an anchor on a ship and then drowning them.
That's only acceptable if he was listening to Ailstorm at the time.
Yes.
Any other reason to be doing that, not acceptable.
Although, granted,
if you want to hear our opinions on where it is and where it is and where it isn't acceptable to murder people, listen to Happening In when it makes a comeback soon.
which is never really a good reason to murder people, unless you're a fucking psychopath. And even then, like, I would argue it's probably still not a good reason, but nevertheless, we talk about death, murder, and sometimes
alcohol, usually.
Sometimes just stuff like extortion and lies in some episodes. Yeah, sometimes.
Yep.
Sometimes some of the stories that we tell don't like death don't apply.
Yeah. In fact, I might stick out one of the episodes this weekend. Actually,
Maybe.
There's a couple ready to go.
Yeah, because we are looking to start recording again. So, also bear in mind that like a lot of these episodes were recorded a good time ago, so some of the references to some stuff we're doing is completely out of date.
Oh yeah, totally.
Like our first episode that was released, and then we were talking about WrestleMania that was like about 4 months old at that point.
Yeah. I might actually stick out the Robert Maxwell episode soon, because that's more or less ready to go. Because I was sober when we recorded that.
Is that one that doesn't require any death?
Yes.
Yes, that was the one that... Yes, I remember that one.
And it's now actually pretty relevant, given the fact that his daughter is in all sorts of trouble.
Ooh.
We covered his daughter in the episode. She's Harvey Weinstein's ex-girlfriend.
Oh, shit. I remember this now.
Yep. So it's actually pretty relevant just now. So I might fire that out of the weekend, actually.
Interesting. Well, you know where to go for if you want to hear more of our shenanigans.
Yep.
Not like this wasn't a shenanigan-y enough episode.
It's got everything, that episode.
It really does. Well, speaking of the end of this episode, we have one more thing to do before we go. It's time for Quick Fire.
Oh, yeah. Thornhill Quick Fire. The greatest segment ever.
So, as we said, like, we're going to do the...
Hit me with it, guys. Hit me.
We're going to do the go-home show for the pay-per-view, as Chris Shadowboxes. We're going to do the go-home show for the pay-per-view before we do Hard to Kill, so... Some of these matches may not make sense right now, but they will leading into the pay-per-view. I know, I'm aware of how bizarre this is. As we said at the start of the podcast.
Unless you've already watched Impact by the time you listen to this, therefore it will make sense.
They'll make sense to you, they won't make sense to us. Because of the bizarre way that we've had to record these episodes, because Wrestle Kingdom took up so much of our time.
Yep.
So Rosemary and Crazy Steve will reunite to take on Tennille, Dashwood, and Caleb with a K.
Crazy Steve and Rosemary.
Interest of fairness, I'm going to go Caleb with a K and Tennille Dashwood.
Okay.
The Karate Man takes on Ethan Page.
Karate Man.
Ethan Page. Oh. They
always say when you're going out, you should go out on your back to the younger star. Ethan Page should do just that.
Oh my God. Eddie Edwards versus Sami Callihan and Barbed Wire Massacre.
Eddie Edwards, and I predict a riot and blood.
I'm going with Sami.
Okay, interesting.
Eric Young, Diener, as he's known as now. and Joe Doring taking on Cousin Jake, Rhino, and Tommy Dreamer in an old school rules 6-man tag match.
Team Eric.
Interest to be different, I'll go with Cousin Jake, Rhino, and Dreamer. Deonna Purrazzo defends the Impact Knockouts Championship against Talia Valkyrie, but before that, you seemed as if you wanted to say something there.
No, I didn't at all.
Oh, okay.
It's just, I've literally, to give the people at home an idea, I've basically came off an 8-hour shift straight onto this podcast. I was just covering my eyes because I've been staring at my computer screen so long.
No, it's just the way you kind of breathed as if you were about to say something.
No, I was breathing because I was like, my eyes hurt.
Yeah, don't get me wrong, I'm fucking knackered as well.
Well, put it this way, right? This is only a 2.5-hour podcast at the moment, right? At this particular point that we're talking. Mm-hmm. We started this at 5:30. I started work at 8. We did. We were on to Skype at 5:30 and had a bit of a chat before we started recording.
So maybe closer to like 6:15 we started.
Yeah, but we're still on Skype talking and I'm still looking at my laptop, which I've been looking at right up to that point. I finished work, logged off my work account, logged in at my personal account and fucking Skyped you straight away.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
I would have had an abundance of fucking problems again.
Yeah, that's not been too bad.
Yeah. Well, my internet decided to keep dying a couple of times, which was fun.
Yeah. Well, we started, let's say 6 o'clock, right? Started at 6 o'clock. We're 4 hours in and we've only recorded for 2.5 of those 4 hours. So,
yeah.
You know.
So, Deonna Purrazzo versus Talia Valkyrie for the Impact Knockouts Championship.
I'm going Purrazzo, but I'm just going Purrazzo out of guess. I have no
feeling
for it.
I'll take Talia to become new champ. Manic, Chris Bay, Rohit Raju, triple threat, X Division title.
Manic.
I'm inclined to agree with you on that one. Although for interest of difference, I'll go Rohit to take the title back. Actually, no.
I would say for the interest of interest, I would probably say Chris Bay.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say as soon as I said that, because Rohit just had the belt.
Yeah.
So I feel like that may be that kind of thing where Chris Bay will fuck over Rohit the same way that Rohit fucked over Chris Bay the last time.
Yeah.
Which is bizarrely not the top match on the card, but will clearly be the main event. The AEW World Champion Kenny Omega and the Impact World Tag Team Champions Doug Gallows and Carl Anderson will take on the Impact World Champion Rich Swann and the Motor City Machine Guns.
Well, for this one, let's just go with them being the Elite, because I think that's what they're going to be, as we discussed in our last episode.
Yeah, pretty much.
So I'm going the Elite.
So you'll be Elite. Be Elite.
I will be Elite. Be Elite.
Interested, just want to be different. I'll go with the Guns and Swann. And then the first match, I assume this is probably set out in the way that this was the first match announced, and then everything else applies accordingly. So Havoc and Nevaeh take on Kiera Hogan and Tasha Steelz for the Tag Team Championships of the Knockouts division.
Havoc and Nevaeh.
Interested being different, I'll go Hogan and Steelz. Although, clearly, every time I say that, you can clearly tell that I wanted to go for everyone that
Yeah, I've said. Yeah. I just can't see past Havoc and Nevaeh.
No, me neither. Like, I think they'll win the belts and then they will hold them for quite a while, because that was the thing, was there was like 2-3 established tag teams the first time around in this division when they last had them, there's a couple more now, like, and so if Havoc and Nevaeh hold them for a long time before losing them to whomever, like, that will, like, give the belts a bit of gusto behind them.
Mm-hmm.
So it kind of only
absolutely.
only makes sense.
Yeah, agreed. Agreed wholeheartedly.
Well, we're only a few days away. It's gonna be interesting to find out.
We'll cover the show at some point next week.
Yeah. Jesus. At this point, we'll have done a show like almost every 3 days.
Well, we're about to go on a run of 3 days of releasing very long episodes on every day.
Yeah.
From today, but just purely because of this licensing issue that is now resolved. So, put one out today, just before we started recording this. Going to have the New Japan show tomorrow, and then this one on Friday.
Nice.
And then we'll probably have one up on Sunday as well.
Yeah, for the AEW and NXT shows that happen in a couple hours from now.
Yep.
At this
I'm
time
actually
of
contemplating
recording.
staying up to watch one of them. Not sure which one yet, but probably AEW actually, since it's kind of a pay-per-view card.
Yeah, as NXT is not this week, so
Yeah. Yep. So anyway, shall we wrap this shindig up?
I suppose.
On that note, I have been Chris motherfucking Hughes.
I have been the Chris. Oh, damn it, he's stuck in infinite loop.
That's going to be the longest one yet, surely.
Yeah, later.
Wow.
Remember, you can follow us on Twitter and Facebook at Heel Podcast. And also, don't forget, you can hear our archives on the World Wide Web at heelpodcast.co.uk. Well, that's all, folks. So long. Have a good day.